Okay, so these further years, I'm not going to go into as much detail until we come to a special situation. Scots played 2, England played 3. They have Edward in quite the force here. They used all 3 movement points to bring up Edward, some archers, and some cavalry here. And then the Scots moved Wallace and his archers over to Lanark, and then from Buchan here to challenge Angus. So I will resolve these 2 combats and be right back. And then I'll probably do the next move as well. Okay, so we had some runaways. Angus ran to Athol here. Wallace got a couple of hits on Stewart, but he managed to retreat to Lothian. The English played a 2 movement and brought 2 more troops from England to join Edward. So they have a big, massive army of 6 there. 6 is as many as can go across, although one of these is Dunbar. So he might try to bring one more up and get as far north as he can, try and winter, keep all those blocks with him to really do a big push. The Scots, on the other hand, brought 2. They brought Campbell and Lennox over here to challenge Argyle. Not a great force because he's defending his home territory here, but they did, this Norse sailed all the way around to do reinforcements, so maybe that'll be enough to turn the tide. We will see. Well, that was almost disastrous for the Scots. Argyle here managed to kill Campbell, and almost kill Lennox here at a 1, so they both managed to retreat. So the question is then, what are the Scots going to do about the English over here? Are they going to stay and challenge or just try and slow them down? So they could send out like these fairly worthless archers to try and maybe slow them down a little. What other gains can we try and go for? We could try and do something similar here and bring these up to Ross, but it didn't go so well here, and I'm not sure it's going to go any better going in that direction. I felt like we had such a good position. We really need to strike and make some ground, but I just don't see how we're going to manage it. I'm almost thinking playing the 1, moving Galloway up here, just to try and safeguard that group a bit. I mean, they're very limited in what they can do, although we could, with this force, we could maybe engage in England, fight those troops. If we manage to win, then the English will start losing troops on the board. There's only 3 movements left, though, and we have a C move that isn't going to allow us to do that, so that's something that we're probably going to try next turn, because if Edward winters in Scotland, there will be no English troops in England, so that leaves it wide open for raiding for us, assuming he doesn't come back and protect it. So, difficult choice. I'd hate to give up this area, but I don't think we can challenge this force, so it may be a good time to just come back and disperse as much as we can so we don't lose any of these people. I don't know. We'll see. So the English brought 1 other troop, playing a 1, from England to join Edward down there. The Scots are going to move this group up to here, and the reason they're doing that is they're hoping that will cause Edward to come into this direction, sacrifice MacDonald, retreat Bruce. That shouldn't be much of an issue, to save Stirling and Menath, to save this position. So that's kind of the idea. Let's see what the English do about that. Scots are going to play 2 for the next one. England are going to play 1 because that's all they have. So the Scots go first. They don't know exactly what the English are going to do. So since this is the last move where they can actually start a conflict, they will do that by trying to take 1, 2. We could try and come down this way and shove Argyle out. Maybe his luck can't hold twice. It's risky losing Moray, but no, let's keep them where they are. What will we do with our one move, though? Could bring this back. It's a fairly powerful force. Move them around. We have two movements. I guess I'll have to think about it for a bit. So I split Buchan to guard his home territory to make sure the English don't come in and try to take this. Well, the Scots go home first, don't they? Oh, that's right. So he's... No, it's... If they move a noble here, the English go first. That's right. What am I thinking? Well, I moved one of the movements here to further dissuade Edward from coming in, and it did. This battle happened. Campbell died immediately, and then Bruce retreated. I do technically still have one move left. I could just pass. But I think I will start this battle with Mar. Then he sees what he's facing. He knows he can't beat that, so he will retreat. He'll actually come up here with Buchan, I think. And then these guys, as part of their forward movement, I could separate them out, because I'm worried about this happening. We'll leave them, because I don't want to leave them both here, is the thing. Because then I'll lose. Well, he'll go home. He'll stay here. That's not so bad, but I want to keep this more than I'm worried about this. So I actually will do this then as my momentum advance. Last card of the year, we have a C move, which will happen first on the Scottish side, and then the big question is, does Edward move forward and attack the large Scottish army? So let's see what happens. So Moray is going to use the C move to come to here, and further than that, I'm thinking we will then move the Norse. Oh, they're just going to die, so we'll just leave them here. So that'll be the only C move that I think we make. We could bring Galloway over. I don't think it's really going to matter at this point. We'll go ahead and do it. So then they have a 1. So the question is, do we bring this army up here, take Lennox, have a little more northernly, although it's not really any more northern than this, really, or do we move to here instead, which will safeguard Mar? So do we want Lennox or do we want Mar? I think this position does more for the Scots than Mar does currently. So I am going to take, although do we own Lanark? That's the question. Who owns Lanark right now? That's Stewart. So the English own him. Okay, so yeah, I will bring the entirety of Edward's army to bear here. Won't be much of a battle, but we will resolve that, and then yeah, I think that's all the movements. So after we resolve this real quick, that'll be year end. So the Norse retreated immediately over here to August, I should say. I've been calling it Angus this whole time, haven't I? Lennox fought bravely, did absolutely nothing. So we come to another winter phase. And the steps of this is very important, so I always check the rules on this one. So English nobles go to their home areas first. So let's move on over to the English. And I think things are going to go fairly favorable for the English this time. Well, except for this. Mar switches at full strength. Where's Mar? Yep. He's fine. Athol is fine. Why are you faced that way? Angus also switches at full strength. Well, not nearly as good as I thought for the English, so it seems. Stuart, though, hey, he survives. Good for him. Then, yeah, the rest of this business, we'll go into Edward wintering here in a moment. But first, Scottish nobles must move to their home territories, which should be fine for them. Buchan moves back and is fine. Moray can choose to stay, but he will teleport back. Although, we might need him, to be honest. He should be able to hold that fairly well. Well, the problem is we're going to lose a lot of units here. So yeah, Moray does teleport back. We'll probably also teleport Wallace. Maybe that'll be a tougher decision. Galloway teleports back. Menath home area, so that is that. Scottish King, we don't have one. All blocks in England disband. Well, that's only one. They left the Ulster Knights. Probably wise. Okay, so Edward wintering. If located in Scotland, Edward I may winter there or disband. He can't winter twice in a row, 2 years in a row, but he will choose to winter. And all red blocks may winter with him, regardless of the castle limit, except for nobles. So even if I had infantry somewhere else, they could all teleport to Edward and stay there with him. And there's also no feudal levy this time, though, in England. That means Bruce can go and raid and cause some issues. We'll see about that. So the Scots are in a little more precarious of a position. As a matter of fact, I should have retreated him somewhere else. Let's put him here instead. Don't mind cheating a little, things I would have forgotten. It's hard to plan talk. Alright, so that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. This is a problem though. So it holds 3. So Menath takes 1. We don't want to get rid of him. We don't care about this block. It's only a 1. That's fine. We'll get rid of that. So we're over 1, 2, 3, 4. We're over by 2. Now we could teleport Wallace to Selkirk Forest, and that's honestly probably what we'll do. And then also get rid of the Scottish archers, and hopefully we can get Wallace back in time to fight this fight. Although we could always leave Wallace to take care of that business down there as well. Because I don't want to give up Barclay and Douglas, is the thing. So I am going to teleport Wallace back. Now I still have to get rid of one more, which is going to be the archers. The Scottish archers are fairly crap. Although the Skiltron, that's right. There's an optional rule, which I will be using. I think I've forgotten it thus far, although I don't know it would have mattered too much. But the Skiltron, the thing Wallace supposedly came up with, or maybe perfected. It depends on what you believe, but basically it's a prior version of the square, where a bunch of spearmen get in a square or a circle, pointing all their spears outward, and it's very effective against cavalry charges, and it worked pretty well for the Scots. Unless the Scots didn't have support for it. So if they didn't have archers or cavalry, then the immobile unit in Wallace's time would just get shot to pieces and didn't stand a chance. So that's what happened at Falkirk. Whereas in Stirling, they managed to use it to their effect. Bruce improved it at Bannockburn and made it so it could actually move. It wasn't a stationary defensive thing necessarily. But in any case, what even was I talking about before that? I forget. I went off topic. So we need to start spending... Oh, right. The in game terms, what does the Skiltron do? So to reflect the dynamics of the battles involving Scottish Skiltrons, all Scottish infantry fire at C4 when the English side has no archers. Also, us having archers doesn't matter then. So yeah, we'll definitely get rid of them. But we will remember that rule, hopefully, from now on. Okay, so we're still in the winter phase. We need to do Scottish builds first. The other thing is, once the Scottish get enough nobles, once they get 8 or more of them, the French knights, which are a very powerful unit, come into the Scottish draw pool. I don't think we have 8 yet. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Scottish have 7, so they're 1 shy of that for the time being. Although much better than they were when they started the game. So Scottish builds go first. I will go ahead and resolve all that and be right back. Alright, we are officially on 1299. Not much happened. No new Scottish units on the board, just some heals around about. So, Scottish, they don't know what their cards are yet, but they're thinking of raiding England. What that does is if they can get 1 or more blocks in there, then at the end of every single further card play that year, the English have to remove 1 troop from the board, which can be devastating. The English see that possibility and are probably going to try and get Dunbar back there to defend, I guess. Of course, that probably means losing Dunbar, but it's kind of their only option, because if the Scots do that the first turn, then the English army is just going to get absolutely destroyed. So let's see what cards come up. This could be telling. We're shuffling. 2, 3, 4, 5. So the Scots draw C move, a 1, a 2, a 2, and a 1. So a less than average hand, to be sure. 2, 3, 4, 5. The English get a 2, 1, 3, 2, and 2. That is more like it. Now, right now, they have pretty much their entire army in one group, so they don't really need all those movement points. But they're not going to say no to having them. The other thing to remember, too, is even if they activate this as a 1, they can split it up into different directions as well. Alright, so I'm going to plan out this move, and we'll be right back. Okay, so the Scots played a 1, thinking just take Bruce into England. Bruce and the Norse have to move separately. But just, that's kind of the idea. Actually, can the Norse go into England? I need to check that. In any case, the British, however, played a 3. They really wanted to go first, and they brought a force into Selkirk Forest here to challenge Wallace and to keep him from joining this force where they then moved. So that puts the Scots in an interesting position. Do they bring in Bruce to try and save Wallace? Or do they continue to move Bruce down into England? Wallace can get away. I don't think that's a problem. He's pretty mobile, but he won't be able to stay there and fight. If they do challenge them, though, they know that that's 2 nobles there. They don't know what the 3rd block is, but they know that's Dunbar and Stewart. So if they can win that fight, then they can get 2 nobles, and that will bring them very close to victory. So it's a kind of a tough decision, but they're going to try, and they decide to let that be and instead sort of hamper Edward by moving one of those over. I'll have to see which one, if the Norse can move. Then we'll have the next turn. So an interesting series of moves, and I will play out this battle for what it will be. I imagine it'll just largely be retreats. But Bruce went in, Wallace retreated. All 3 of these as a part of the regroup came to Tivaux, which means they're probably going to be challenging Bruce next turn. So we'll take care of this, and then we'll be right back. Well, we just resolved the big battle in Menath, and not surprisingly, Edward wrecked the Scots. He killed Barclay and Douglas, and Menath was able to retreat unscathed, fortunately, in Fife. As a regroup, he sent Northumber infantry to Lennox here, and then kept the rest with him. So we'll see how it goes, but that's the end of a card. Play turn phase thing. And because the Scots have one here, then the English must lose one. And they lost Westmore infantry from this group, so that's taken care of. Now we'll play the next one, and we'll resolve a few probably before I come back and catch you guys up. So the English played both of their moves to try and kick Bruce out of England. However, Wallace came and joined him and instead kicked the English out of England. So they've retreated, and I've joined up with a subsequent move to join Edward. There's a big Scottish army here, so who knows who's going to push first there, if that's just going to remain. Having these guys in Scotland is really hurting the English, because they're just about to have to lose another unit, and they'll lose these ones here. So that is not good for them. So it's a big fight. They know Wallace isn't in it, though. But they've got not full strength here. They could bring someone else in, or we could just safeguard Menath, because we're going to lose 2 more units. We're going to lose basically every of our non-noble, non-Edward units on the board, so they're not going to be able to stay around and safeguard. So we might as well put them into a fight, I guess. It's kind of the idea. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a black border, so we could bring him in, fight this, and then bring in someone as reinforcements to try and sway things that way. It's going to be a big fight, and one I'm not sure we can win. Fortunately, this isn't anyone's home ground, so they won't have a defensive advantage, and they'll lose any skill-tron advantage because of the Welsh archers. And Edward's going to be better than anything they have. Unfortunately, unless we can get this in here, he's going to take all the hits because he has the most health. It'll be a gamble, but it's one, if the English can win, we'll just be crushing to the Scots. Of course, they'll be attacking into the Scots, which means they only have 3 turns to do it, and then the Scots could counterattack. Not sure what other options the English have, though. They could just sort of pull back and try and defend. I mean, they could stay here, maybe, and defend Menath, and then... But they are going to lose, so that force is only going to look like this, which might entice the Scots into fighting them. They don't have Menath to defend his own place. So I think it's better to fight it now, while we have these archers, and if we can get them in, rather than wait 2 more turns until we lose them, because there's nothing we can do down here. This is just lost to us. The only other thing we could do is make a situation that the Scots have to react to try to bring someone over there, maybe to attack Mar or something, but there's plenty of ways for him to get away. So yeah, I think we're going to have a big battle here, and we'll see what happens. We'll do this one step by step, because it's big enough. Wow, so the English are going to play a 2. The Scots only have a 1 and a C move. So their movement would... We'll play the C move. Save the 1. So the C move happens first, which means we could even take Galloway into here, couldn't we? And that's something worthwhile, I think. So we will do that. Move him there. That makes things makes the English question their decision a little more. Bring these in and then bring him in as reinforcements. Edward's going to take some hits, but as long as he doesn't die, which is kind of unlikely, I guess. It's worrisome, but I don't know we have a better option. So, yeah, I think we're still going to try it. So he's in reserves. We're fighting this here. Make sure we keep all the correct facing, and this is a big old force. Oh no, we're fighting here. They came from Menath. So we have superior numbers, but never underestimate Edward. The Scots never won a victory while Edward was in England. Will it start now? Okay, so we don't have any A's. So we start with defender B's. So that is 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 D6 hitting at 2s. This should be 12. Should be 15. Let's carefully set this here. Okay, on 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. Could have been worse. We can't take them on the reserve yet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. Yeah, that's that is terrible right there. Oh, do we stay and fight? Yeah, let's stay and fight. So Edward, 2 hits on 4s, hits twice, as expected. So we'll take these. I need to check and see if Black Douglas dies or goes back into the pool. Same with Barclay as well. I need to mark these. The newest edition have black crosses on the blocks to show that if they die in combat, they don't go back into the pool. I need to do that. Okay, so that was Edward. He's gone. So we have 4 dice here at 2s. That's going to be no hits. And then 2 for the Welsh archers at 3s. That'll be 1 hit. Yep, this is not going to go well. We will take it on Galloway. Well, fortunately, these guys come in. Unfortunately, they get to go first. So what do we have? We have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. Did I count him? 3, 6, 12, 13, 14 dice. So 1 less than last time. Only hitting on 2s, though. Now, the game isn't over if Edward dies here. Edward II takes control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. Again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm not sure there's anything for the English to accomplish here. But if they pull back, then what do they do? They will most likely go first. So they could pull Athol and Argyle in and defend Menath. That's probably the best option for them to try and save their losses. So, although they might lose a few more up there, we'll see. But yeah, that is what the plan is going to be. So they are going to all pull back. They will they'll get a shot first, and I'm sure they will kill them. Yeah. So they're gone. These guys come back to here. And then these guys can regroup. We'll put Angus back in his territory, and then everyone else I think we'll just keep in Fife. Do we have any other? We have Fraser and Lindsay. They can both stay in Fife, so that's fine. Now the question is, do the Scots want to push the battle? So England will get to go first, but they are very, very hurt. Oh, and since we're still raiding Scotland, we have to lose another, which will be the Welsh archers. Now I need to see if that can... I don't think that can remove Edward from the pool. That's something I'll need to check out. But we do have only one card left for the year. 2 for the English, 1 for the Scots. I'll make that move, look up the couple of rules questions I have, and be right back. Nope, Douglas and Barclay go back into the Scottish pool, so we don't have to worry about them dying on us. And Edward is not, as far as I can tell, a noble block, so he will have to, but since it happens after a card phase, it doesn't matter. The last one, he would have to get disbanded anyway because he already wintered in England. So, no big deal there. So, we played a 2, and they played a 1. We don't want to lose this position, as we want to keep it, so we're going to pull in both of these here. And then it's a question for the Scots, do they want to push? Probably not. We'll probably use this opportunity, actually, to take Athol. I don't see... Well, we could take Dunbar. That's interesting. I think those are our 2 options, really. We could either take Athol or we could take Dunbar. Now, Dunbar is much more... Berwick is kind of where this whole thing started. There was a big massacre. Well, how big? It's hard to say exactly, but a massacre of the English to this Scottish city of Berwick. Lots of civilians killed and such, which kind of fueled the flames to get this whole war started. You'll notice it starts before the actual game does. But it's kind of seen as the start of the war. But in any case, so this is much more vulnerable, obviously, to English forces coming in. But we do have to have all the nobles to win, unless we make it to year's end. And this is 2, so we can get Dunbar back here, heal him up if he will need some healing, and then reinforce him. I think that's better than Athol. I think it'll be easier for us to get him later on, and having this opportunity to be able to take Dunbar is not quite as likely. So I'm actually going to take Wallace here and he'll help defend this quite a bit, I think. So yeah, that's that. And then did the English? Yeah, they took their move. So that's it. Then Edward gets disbanded as part of this, but he would have got disbanded anyway. And then let's do the wintering phase. So that's the big one. So English nobles go home first. So Argyle. And that's surprising. We could have taken that as well, but I still think this is probably the best option for us. Athol lives to see another day. Dunbar, not so lucky. So we need him. Lennox, also quite lucky. Interestingly enough. I think that's everyone. Okay. So not a lot of movement there. I think the English lucked out. Things could have went a lot worse for them. However, I think that gives the Scots their 8th noble, which means the French come on their side. Possibly. They get added to the pool, which is a very good block for them. Big advantage. Okay, then all Scot nobles head back. So Bruce can go either way. I think I'll leave the Norse here and bring him here to Carrick. Wallace could teleport back, but I'm actually going to leave him where he is. And the same with Moray. Actually, I think I'll leave Moray here if I can. Just so he's in a better position to actually do something. Menath jumps back. Yeah, English couldn't even hold that. Galloway jumps back. Buchan jumps back. Yeah, I will keep Moray here, actually, to lead this crew. Oops. And then I assume this is Argyle, or Angus, or not Angus. Angus. Wait. Angus? Angus. Why did I think that was wrong? I don't know. Yeah, weird. Okay. So that's that. No Scottish king. English disbands. Yep. No English units left on the board. Edward couldn't winter again in a row if he was there, but he's not there. I think we're all within our castle limits everywhere. Good for us. Winter builds. Yep. So let's count the Scott nobles, actually. Make sure we do have 8+. And it'll be a good score telling of us of who kind of has the victory here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. So that brings the French knights into the pool. Make sure we get everyone here. Okay, and then, yeah, we'll go through and use up our points, do some recruitments. I'll do that off camera, and then we'll start at the next year, which will be 1300.